trust that something better is out there, but also trust that if it does so happen to come back into your life, and if you do happen to find yourself in the right season with this thing, then it was meant to be, and that's because it wants to be in your life. It wants to deserve a spot in your life. Hi guys, hi, welcome to my page, welcome to this video. Thank you for checking it out. And if you're new, my name is Brooke, and I like to help encourage other women to live their best, passionate, fulfilling lives, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And so today we're going to get right into it. Today we're talking about living divine, soft, feminine life, or divine feminine energy, and why letting it go is so important in order to be in that space of divine feminine energy. So in order to talk about this topic, let's first talk about what divine feminine energy is. I talk about it a lot in my videos, but this is just a recap. And so if you think back on social media and you see all of these women talking about divine feminine energy, and it's all about what they're receiving and how they're living and the lavish gifts that they're getting and the princess treatment, and hey, we're all deserving of that. But divine feminine energy is actually a little bit contradicting to that, because it's less about what we're receiving from those around us, and it's more about what we're receiving from ourselves and within. It's more of an emotion, and it's more about how we feel about ourselves and how we treat ourselves. And I always say, wherever we place our mind, our feet will follow. So if we're feeling confident about ourselves, if we're feeling beautiful, if we're in love with ourselves, if we're patient and we're feeling deserving, then that's the direction we're going to go. That's the life that we're trying to pursue and live. That's the space that we're creating for ourselves. But if we're placing ourselves constantly in spaces where we don't belong, or the season may have ran out, or it's just not ready for us at this moment, and we're holding on and we're not letting go, we're kind of contradicting that. We're more defensive, we're more on guard, we're more trying to be in control all of the time, and that's not the best direction for us at times. That is why it's so important to let go, because when holding on to something for so long, it actually can harm us more than help us. It takes us out of that soft space. So I'm going to go over the different points and why letting go is so important in order to live that divine feminine life and to enter that divine feminine energy, to have that soft life, because it's extremely important. Where we put our minds, our feet will follow. So point number one, it's just healthier in general. And whenever we're healthy, we're happier. And we want to keep ourselves in that space of happiness and good health. So why do we want to keep feeding ourselves poison? Not letting go is like feeding yourself poison all the time. Because when you're putting yourself in an unhealthy space, in a space that's not valuing you or that doesn't deserve you, you're constantly letting that space pour into you. And in return, it's almost like eating poison. You're believing the lies, you're believing the false narratives that you're allowing it to give you. Rather, it's obtaining a goal or a career, opportunities, relationships, friendships. That space is unhealthy for you at this moment. And you're feeding yourself poison and you're believing it, and so therefore you're going to walk in that direction. Our emotions are so strong, it can affect us physically. And one of my favorite books talks about letting go. It's called Letting Go, actually. And it talks about how our emotions are tied to different parts of our bodies physically. And depression, sadness, anxiety, desperation, all of that stress can actually affect certain parts of us and hurt us physically. And in the long term, you're actually killing ourselves physically. And so keeping yourself in that space it's not just affecting you mentally and emotionally, but also physically. And therefore, you're not in a healthy space and you can't operate in a soft, loving way. And so in return, we have to stop putting ourselves in spaces where we're not valued, because it's just simply not healthy for us. This leads me to my next point. When we hold on to things too tightly or with a very tight hand, we're actually pushing it away. And I'm not sure if you have experienced this, but I have experienced this many of times, and I had to learn the hard way. But when you're holding on to something too tightly, it can feel that. and you're making it the center of your world, the center of your life, and you're actually pushing it away. And without knowing that, we become more forceful. We start to want to chase these things, right? And if you put yourself in the other seat, and we've all felt that. We felt it before when something is trying to be forced on us or forced into our lives, and it makes us back up. It makes us like want to create distance, because distance is good. You need that clarity to think, right? So bring yourself back into the seat, and when you're constantly pushing something, pushing for something or forcing it, it can feel it, and it's going to start pushing back as well. And it's actually very unattractive to the outcome, because we don't want to force anything into our life, the good and the bad. We want to let it go. You want it to come to you. You don't want to force it. You don't want to chase it. We don't want to chase it away. You want anything that's deserving of you to come into your life. We always have to remind ourselves with this thought: what's meant for me is for me. And so understanding that, like, even the things that's good for you, you have to hold it with a loose hand, and you can't keep chasing it, because you have to sit back and realize, if this is for me, it's going to happen, it's going to come to me. And I'm a very God-fearing woman, so I want the blessings God has for me. But there's times where I want to pursue those things and put them in the center of my world, and it's actually turning it off and pushing it away, versus me just believing that mentally and spiritually, sitting back, being disciplined, but understanding that it's going to come to me. And I'll be honest with you also, like, sometimes it's not even about pushing something away. Sometimes you're pushing the thing that's meant for you away. Sometimes we have to let these things go, so that something greater, something bigger and better can come into our lives, something more fulfilling. But we can't do that if we're constantly holding on to something that we should let go, whether it's indefinitely or at that time. The next point: when we let go of attachment, we become more receptive. We accept and we do not chase. We allow things to come into our lives, and the things that deserve to be into our lives. And anything that's not, anything that's running from us, anything that doesn't want a spot in our life, we don't chase, and we simply just let it go. If it's meant for us, it's going to come back. If not, then something better will take its place. We flow and we do not force. We do not force anything to be in our life, and we do not want anything forced in our lives. And so while doing this, while letting go of that attachment and whatever it is, we can now step back and give more energy and more love, and create that nice safe space for the things that does deserve to be in our life, the things that want to be in our life, or the things that's pursuing us. We can now pour into that. We can now feel safer and softer to give those things in our life more attention, more energy, more love, like all of those things. And I'll be honest with you, like, it feels like free falling, like letting something go, because you have to trust. And for me, that's trusting God. That's trusting His word and what He says about me and what He said He's going to do, and that He always knows best. But that's trusting. You're out of control, but you are in control, because mentally you're like, I want what's for me, and I know what's going to happen, but I know I have to let this go. And for me, it's like, I know what God says about me. I know I want what He has for me. I want the blessings and even the challenges, but I don't want to operate off of my own understanding. I want to let go, and therefore I'm going to free fall and trust that He got me, and trust that I'll be okay. I'll be better than okay. I want to be divine because I'm anointed. I want to live that divine, soft, and feminine energy, because I know He has His hands on me, and I shouldn't be stressing. We shouldn't be stressing about anything that doesn't want to be in our lives right now or at the moment. Trust that something better is out there, but also trust that if it does so happen to come back into your life, and if you do happen to find yourself in the right season with this thing, then it was meant to be, and that's because it wants to be in your life. It wants to deserve a spot in your life. So this leads to point number 4. I believe this is point number 4. And detaching and stepping away, letting go allows us to see more clearly. It's like trying to walk in the dark when we're holding on to something too tightly or we can't let go. You're walking in the dark and we're stumbling, trying to reach our goals, our desires, our passions, and the things that we want. We're stumbling because we can't see. And that's because we're holding on to something that's affecting our mentality of us and our mindsets and our emotions. And those emotions and the mindset, it can kind of blur our vision. And I've been hearing this message in all different forms. Like, when you can't see clearly, you're not going in the right direction, or it's going to take you to reach your destination even longer. And so we start stumbling in our mindset and our emotions and how we feel about ourselves. And we start stumbling away from that divine soft energy where we feel love, we feel confident and in control of ourselves and well deserving. Not letting go, you're trying to keep yourself in this space, and so now you're trying to change yourself, mold yourself, adjust yourself in order to obtain this thing. And so now we're taking wrong turns and moving in the wrong direction when you're over here. Instead, you got to be over here. And guess what? That causes us to be on guard more. That causes us to be less feminine and less soft, because now we're constantly trying to change and mold, and it's not going the right way, or it's making us think differently of ourselves. And it puts us in a more tense space. And that's not healthy. It's not good. And it blinds us because now we can't see the blessing that's in front of us. No, we only see what we don't have or what we didn't get and what's not working right. And we're not seeing the beauty that we have right now at this moment. The fact that we're alive and we have another chance, to live this life. But we can't see that because we're too busy focused on a space that it's not meant for us at this time. This is why it's important to let go and step back, create some space between whatever it is, and clear your vision. And think to yourself, is this the right thing for me at this time? Is this what I need? Is this thing pouring into me? Is this where I need to be? And is this where God is placing me? Is this for me at the moment? And so when you clear your vision, when you let go, you're clearing your vision, and now you're able to operate more maturely and more clearly. You can see better and you can move in the right direction in a happier, healthier place. And 10 out of 10, not even 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, if this thing is hurting you so badly, 10 out of 10, there's so much better out there. And you just have to see that. You have to create the distance in order to see it visually. So therefore, this leads to point number 5. This allows us to create a space where we can now put ourselves first. Letting go of everything, the good and the bad, the blessings and the challenges. Letting go of everything allows us to step back, recenter ourselves, and to be selfish. Because believe it or not, divine feminine energy is not just selflessness, it's also being selfish. It's also putting yourself first. Because in order for us to love on the things that we're blessed with, in order for us to love on the things that want to be in our lives, that's fighting to be in our lives, and that deserve to be in our life, we have to be selfish and protect ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically. Protect ourselves. Put ourselves first, recenter ourselves, and make sure we're pouring into ourselves and cutting off anything that's not pouring into us. That way we're in a healthier space and we can pour into those things that want to be in our life. Letting go means that you're in control. You're out of control of the things you can't control, but you're in control of yourself. You're recentering yourself. You're being selfish with yourself in a beautiful way, but you're in control of you and how you respond to certain situations, and you're a little more calm, you're relaxed, and you can operate out of that calmness and pour that into others. Because in all honesty, in order to love the blessings around us, we have to love ourselves. And I mention that in almost all of my videos. Love yourself. We have to love ourselves. And I know that's easier said than done, but the first step is letting go. Choosing to be in control and letting these things go. So yeah, so don't get this confused with pursuing dreams and goals. Like, yes, even though you should hold these things with a loose hand, when you are called to grind and be disciplined, do those things. Be disciplined, grind, be passionate about it, pray about it, love it, manifest it, but hold it with a very loose hand. And whether that's opportunities and friendships and relationships, you have to let it go. You have to step back. You have to clear your mind, give yourself vision, keep yourself in a healthy space. Live in that divine feminine energy, because it's all about self-control. So I just want to remind you of that. And as always, I always like to remind you that you are beautiful, you are worthy, and you are capable of learning how to let go and how to recenter yourself and being the very best that you can be, so that you can live that divine, soft, feminine life, because we are deserving of it. You are deserving of it. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you. And until next time, I love you.